I'm Chaz from Pair of Dice Paradise and Board Game Geek, and I am joined by Danelle Reynolds from DMR Creative Group, and we are going to be taking a look at Nut Stash.
Yes.
So yes, I must ask you, what is this all about? Because the squirrels and the nuts are they're amazing. They're in this game.
No, it's a fast-paced live time rolling dice, and what you're trying to do is match sets or do some simple addition.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is play as either Team Chipmunk or Team Squirrel,
All right.
competing to find as many nuts as we can, collect them, and then stash them in what these are called the stash cards.
Okay.
And it's very fast-paced. It's great as kind of like a start-off to your game night, but also it's more geared towards kids, families, because it is a lighter game.
Okay. So how does it work?
Sure. So imagine all these cards are actually in the stack. What you're
Okay.
going to do is each of us would have a dice,
Okay.
and we would flip over one card at a time. We would continually roll, and I got a 1 right there.
Ah.
So I would snatch it. And
okay.
at this point, you're kind of doing more like an Egyptian rat killer, like that kind of vibe, or a war, where you're just like grabbing it as fast as possible. I don't do like if someone rolled it first. It's whoever got it, grabbed
Okay.
it first. It's more fun that way, and kids seem to really enjoy that.
Okay.
But so we would just continually keep flipping over the card. Anyone could flip it because you're going to be stashing,
I had
I
it.
know.
But,
and then you would
Wait,
do that.
all right. So how many do we collect, or what happens?
So eventually you're
Yes.
going to have, I don't know, we're going to have some of these out here. Eventually you're going to still be rolling,
Uh-huh.
but you're also going to have to start stashing things.
Oh, how do you do that?
So you stash you could do just like a 1 into 1. It's pretty simple. 1 nut, 1 chest. Flip it over. It's stashed. It's safe. The only
Okay.
predator that can mess with it is the coyote.
All right.
And you can also do it if you want to do a little bit of math. You could do a 1 plus a 2, put it in that 3. And the reason you might want to do some math is for some bonus points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so with these 2, you're going to get 1 additional bonus point.
All right.
And then you could get an additional 2, 3 if you're able to fit even more cards inside of it.
So how long do we continue grabbing and stashing?
You go until the deck runs out, and that's when winter hits. And at that point, any nuts that are not stashed are up for grabs. So you
Okay.
kind of like have to wager if you want a card, because any leftover cards are going to be negative points.
All right.
So if you end up with more nut cards, it actually might work out because they could potentially steal it, which means getting rid of negative points, but it also adds their points.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a built-in balance there with that.
Yeah, so there's like a little bit of strategy, and you're trying to like multitask, but it's really fun in teams. I found that people will kind of split into different roles. Like one will more focus on the stashing while the other will keep rolling.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because like kids tend to want to do the math while adults are like, I'll just keep rolling. You'd be amazed how often the stashes go wrong.
Excellent. And how many groups, or if you play teams or individually, how many players are
It
playing?
goes 2 to 6.
To 6. Okay, so
Yes.
you go full 6 people. You can just have a lot of hands reaching for those.
Yeah, and
nuts.
it's crazy because we'll all be rolling, and you think statistically someone would roll the number, but you actually have lags at times where
Really?
no one gets it. And because of the negative points, eventually you may not want something that's coming up.
Oh.
So you can decide, I don't want it.
If you roll and it's up there and you don't want it, do you have to take it, or you kind of?
So if you normally, if you rolled it, you got to grab it, like honor system.
Okay.
But if you know that you don't want it because maybe you have too many stashes and all you need are nuts, and you know that the deck's going down and it's going to be negative points, what you'll decide to do is be like, I don't want it. If the other team says, I don't want it, everyone rolls, lowest number gets it. And that's also with these predator cards. If they pop up, everyone stops touching the cards, stop touching their dice. We
Okay.
all would roll at the same time. And if you have a hawk, you get to steal someone's nut, like any nut that they have. So figure out
Okay.
how it's going to work with your side.
All right.
With the coyote, it would do, so say this was stashed up.
Uh-huh.
It would actually come over, just walk over. It doesn't really care about your nut, but it takes your stash card out of play.
Oh, okay.
And this could be good or bad for you because maybe you need nuts to fill your stashes. So it actually, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like it could be really good or really bad.
Okay, that's nice too. That those seeming penalties can sometimes work out in your favor depending on
Oh,
what
yes.
your long-term strategy is going to be.
It's worked out pretty well because I've had it where I played with someone who not as mathematically inclined, but I allowed them to be our stasher. And thankfully, someone undid a stash that was wrong, so I ended up avoiding a lot of negative points. It worked out really well.
Excellent. So where is this in terms of production?
So it's actually on Kickstarter right now. It's going until 4th of July because I figure if we fund fireworks, not on my budget.
Oh, okay. Outsourcing that. That's
Yeah,
very
right?
clever, very clever.
I try.
And once it is available, how much money do you plan on people shelling out for it?
So for this one, if you just want one copy, it is actually $12,
Okay.
and then plus shipping. So depending on if you're in the United States, Canada, or the UK, that right now is where I'm selling to. I also have a print and play option, $5. So I know everyone has dice. We have our favorites. So just print them out, cut them out, and I would say put them in sleeves just because it gets a little hectic
yeah.
and people really grab at them. So good
Excellent.
card stock.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Danelle. That is Nutstash, coming soon to a Kickstarter near you. And thank you so much for sharing it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
All right.